Hi everyone, my name is Owen Magabinao and welcome to HYVA, which stands for HireYourVirtualAssistant.com. And one of the things I do every now and then is I go out there to look for successful entrepreneurs, some of whom you might have heard of, some of them you might not have heard of them yet, and they're very successful just on the low on the radar, under the radar. And the idea is that we want to learn from these entrepreneurs, myself and you, the audience. We can learn from how they got to this point in their business. And today I have Phil Gibbs from espaces.com on the show. So Phil, go ahead, introduce yourself to the audience.
Well, I'm Phil Gibbs. I serve in the role of CEO of eSpaces. We're a relatively new company based in Nashville, Tennessee. We provide what we call the next generation office, an event venue. So our services are aimed at people who work out of their homes, out of their cars, Starbucks, Panera Bread, coffee shops, and yet they have a need for a place to meet, a need for a place to work, for meetings, and we provide that type of service on a membership model with a lot of flexibility, the amenities of an office, but basically in a coffee shop type of environment.
Definitely, I like that because one of the things we keep preaching on this blog is how, as an entrepreneur, you don't have to be, stuck to one office or, bound by one specific location. And what you're saying is you're providing a medium for which entrepreneurs who want to, work virtually, if they need to have an office space where they have a meeting with, clients, customers or something, they can use that facility you provide. That's the sense of what I'm getting from this, right?
Absolutely. There is a major movement in this country because of all the technology, for workers to be mobile. In fact, there's research out by IDC that says that in 2013, 75.5% of the workforce will be mobile. And because of that, the need for what we think of as a traditional office, a walled office, is just becoming much, much less. Used to it was the place you kept your files. Now those are kept in the clouds.
Definitely.
It was a place where you went to use your typewriter in the old days, or to use your desktop. And now with all of the iPad and smartphones and laptops, you can really work anywhere, anytime. So the need for the traditional office is much less. But you still need a place. The coffee shop's great, but everyone is there. It's crowded. It's noisy. You don't have copiers. You don't have a place for a meeting with several people. You can't do video conferencing there. So what we provide is a place for that large group of workers who are now have mobile capability.
Definitely. And I'm just curious, why is there that shift that's going on in the traditional way of doing business? Why is that even happening in the first place?
Well, it's basically driven by technology. It used to be you needed a file cabinet, and you needed a place that you kept all of your files. And then when you worked, you went to that place so you could access your files. Now what I do is I take receipts, or I take documents and go and scan them to my email, and then drop the receipt, drop the document, drop the contract in the shredded box, and all I have is the electronic version. It's kept in the clouds, it's backed up, I can access it from any device. And I can find it. When it was a paper file, even though I had file cabinets and all that, I couldn't find them. With all the mobile technology, again, you can work anywhere. You've got your files, you've got your information, you've got your communication capability. So the need for the traditional office is just not there. Now there's some professions, some jobs where you still may need it, but having a traditional office, as we think of it, for many people at least, it's kind of like having, if you travel a lot, having in every city a hotel with a room that's reserved just for you when you travel to that city. And that seems silly, but that's kind of the way it is with traditional offices as well, because if you were to walk the hallways of virtually any large office building across the country, at any point in time, I'm not sure exactly what the number is, but somewhere 50-75% of the office is going to be empty because they're traveling, they're in meetings, they're on vacation, they're at Starbucks or some coffee shop. They're out, and it becomes a tremendous waste of resources to have that sitting there when you really don't have to have it sitting there. In fact, to be a little bit cynical, the major function of traditional offices in many organizations today is just to tell you where the person fits in the hierarchy. If you have a big, large corner office, you know you must be important. If you have no office or a small cubicle, you know you're not quite as high up in the hierarchy. So as hierarchies go away, even that becomes less important.
Definitely. And I'm sure because you're helping entrepreneurs facilitate that ability to work from anywhere, but and at the same time when they need that physical space, they know they can come to you for that. But I'm sure you come across entrepreneurs that feel that challenged, feel challenged of by going through the process of basically virtualizing their business. How do you walk them past that challenge that they might have?
Well, in the type of service we offer, they have a physical mailing address. It's not a P.O. box. So they have a physical mailing address. They have a business phone number. Now most would just forward it to their cell phones, but they can print. They don't have to print their cell number. If they don't want to on a business card, they can put the business phone number. And then they have meeting rooms and conference rooms. It is very functional unless perhaps you come to work and work in one place for 8-10 hours a day, and then perhaps you need your own office and you're doing that virtually every day. But for most people, that's just not how we work. We're on the move, we're on the go. It's the way I office. I office just like our members. We are a membership-based organization. Our members office. I run the company sitting out in open space with my laptop and my iPad, and it works great. The physical mailing address is here. It works great. So I find it to be very functional, and some people don't get it. Some people are not ready for it. And it's not going to fit everyone, but many people walk in and really get it, really understand it, and see the advantage to it because they still work at home. Some may even have another office, not maybe as nice of an office as they want to meet with clients. It doesn't have meeting room, conference room, video conferencing capability, the other capabilities that we provide. But it's in most cases it's not a hard sell, and for some, like I said, it doesn't fit, and they're not going to be members here, at least not now. Down the road they may be, but for most it's a pretty easy sell. It takes some adjustment. They have to come see the space. When you describe it and talk about it, often they don't get it. They think of a cubicle farm or something like that, and that's not what we are. So once they see it, understand how it works, hear other people that are in here, the testimonials, then it becomes a fairly easy sell.
Definitely. So, I mean, we're going through a whole new concept of how the office, how entrepreneurs can run an office where basically, they don't really have to have the office at home. They can basically come and lease space and use it whenever they need it. But I'm curious, because one of the things I always try and do is find out, how did you come about this idea, or even how did you even determine that there was a need for this in the first place?
Yeah. Well, I was studying telemedicine and telecommuting. In a previous role that I was in. Both of those areas are really intriguing. I think they're great opportunities. Technology is really providing opportunities for us to be much more efficient in both of those areas. And as I was studying telecommuting, Washington, D.C., the whole D.C. area is kind of the leading area in the country for telecommuting. And they developed telework centers in the suburbs around D.C. And people were supposed to drive and work in those centers as opposed to driving downtown, saving energy, improving the environment, all the things that telecommuting, the advantages of it. However, the data was showing people weren't using them. And I haven't actually been in one of them, but you could go online and actually see one of these centers, and it's this small little building with rows of dull gray cubicles, and you say, duh, no wonder no one is using it. It's not an environment people want to work in. And then you walk in a coffee shop, a Panera Bread, a Starbucks, and you see all of the laptops open, all of the energy business being transacted, but they don't have enough plugs for power, they don't have a mailing address, they don't have copiers, they don't have a business phone, they don't have meeting rooms and conference rooms. So basically the idea was to take the aesthetics of the type of place people like to work in and put the functionality that they need to really be effective in work, put them together, marry the two, and that's what we did. And so eSpaces is simply taking two simple concepts, a coffee shop environment and a state-of-the-art technology-driven office, and put them together was basically the idea.
Definitely, but one thing I also learned from is challenges that businesses go through when they taking the idea and turning the idea from basically concept to something that you're actually working on. So now you got the idea that okay, this places where like in Washington DC where they have a telecommuting office where it's just cubicles and all that setup, people don't want to go there because it kind of reminds them of a real office and it's kind of dull. But then you got the idea that okay, if you change the aesthetics a little bit, it makes it a lot better. It makes the environment more work friendly. People want to come to it. But I'm sure you had to also go through some challenges and difficulties, trying to get this process started. Walk us through some of those things that you experienced earlier when you started eSpaces.
Well, the major thing is it's just a brand new concept, and we in trying to raise money for it. It's a piece of paper, and it's a brand new, different type of concept. So that's challenging to overcome. And as you open it up and open the doors to it, the challenge is to get people into it to see it. Once they see it, experience it, like I said earlier, then they tend to like it and be drawn to it, and the sale is not that difficult. So a big part of our challenge was to get people in the space. So part of what we did is use just some classic diffusion of innovation, which has been around for, I guess it goes back into the 50s or 60s, and studying how when you have a new idea, how you diffuse it in a particular area or across the country. And the classic thing is to find the opinion leaders, get them involved, and then they will tell other people. So what we did is we identified a group and formed a group of about 13 business and academic and nonprofit leaders in the Nashville community, and asked them to serve on a member council. We gave them a complimentary membership, and their job was to give us service feedback on how it works, their experience with it, and to go out and talk about it and promote it among other people. So that was the start to kind of help us get this brand new idea out in the marketplace. And then another thing we did was open it up to nonprofit boards and groups to come in to hold meetings. So we've had lots of people come in to attend a nonprofit board meeting or a meetup group or some type of nonprofit group meetings, which has gotten lots of people in the center, and then as lots of people get in, they go out and talk about it to other people, as well as many of them are prospects themselves. So our big challenge has been to take this brand new idea, something people are not used to, and getting people aware of it, getting them used to it, and getting some buzz on the street that there's this really great new place to work that's unlike anything else around here. You really enjoy it, and it's a great place to work, a great place for meetings, a great place for events. So kind of overcoming that lack of knowledge when you have a new idea is really challenging, really critical.
Definitely, and I see how you said you first thing you guys did was, I mean, it was definitely challenging to explain the new concept on paper, and then next thing was the challenge of getting people in to see it. And one of the things you said you did to break that challenge was to identify the key players that would actually be able to help spread the word on what you guys are doing. And every now and then an entrepreneur might start something new, and they might have to go through that same whole process of getting that new idea concept or something that people understand and want to use. So in your case, you guys identified the key players that will help you spread the word. But just for anyone listening, how did they go about? How did you guys go about even identifying that this person is the right person to even help with the spreading of the word? That's the question I'm asking.
Well, the kind of had an advantage, have been in this market for a number of years and have been involved in my earlier career. I was in consulting practice and through that knew a lot of people, and then was involved in early stage investments and made a lot of contacts and knew a lot of people that I could go to and say, this is what I'm doing, I'd like to offer you a membership, and we'd love to have you involved in it. So I had the advantage that going into a new market we'll have a different challenge because we don't have those personal relationships. But it's all that networking that you do over the years that people tell you is so important, then at certain times it pays off, and it paid off as we rolled this out. Was to go to, we went to 3 universities and have the dean of a business school, have the head of the entrepreneurial program, and the professor that heads up entrepreneurship at another university. And that's 3 major universities here in Nashville: Vanderbilt University, Belmont University, and Lipscomb University. So that gave us the academic side. And then we have some people in the investment side. And then we have here in Nashville a technology council. I have a representative from the Technology Council, and then from different businesses, CEOs of business, others from the business side, and that group of people, and someone going and looking at the site and seeing who our member council is. There's a tendency to say, hey, I want to be a part of that, because if those guys are involved, I'd like to be in there, maybe bump into them. If they think it's a good idea, then it must be a good idea. So for me, it was building on and all of those relationships that had built up over the years through relationships and networking over many years.
Definitely, and I can see the value in getting those key players involved, because now people might say, oh, if these people are involved, like you said, it might be good, worth getting involved with in the first place, or even try the service out. But like, what was the selling point for those key players? I mean, there had to have been something that would benefit them for even being involved in the first place. How did you sell it to them?
Well, I think it's a combination of things. I think it is, they see the fact that it's a really innovative idea. I have, for many of them, I had talked to them over a period. This wasn't just an idea that was developed over a couple of months. It's really kind of been working on it for about 4 years before we kicked it off. Okay. And many of them I had sat down with and talked with. It wasn't a new idea I was pitching to them, and they certainly saw the advantage of and the fact it was a new way of thinking about something. And but ultimately, and I just will shoot straight here. And in many cases, it's just a favor because of the relationship you have. And in entrepreneurship, those relationships and people that will help you out with something that's really critical. And many of them, because of the relationships over a number of years, in part they did it as a favor. And that's part of being part of a community and developing relationships and working with people for many years.
Definitely. And one of the things I want to do in this interview, as we have the rest of the time left, is to really focus on how entrepreneurs can take an idea that is new and get it out to market. So we want to zone in on based on your own experience. So now you have gotten the key players involved. What next? What did you do next?
we've taken several routes. That was kind of the initial, one of the initial strategies. Social media, obviously, really critical with something like this. So we obviously have a website, HYVAssistant.com. We actually went and bought the URL. It was really critical to get a very simple URL. We had been operating with HYVAssistinc.com, and we had to go and pay a significant amount to get a URL that people don't have to think about and try one thing and try another. And then developed what we think is a very user-friendly website. And then we worked with a photographer who took great pictures of the site, which allowed us to put on the website images that people could see it. Of course, we developed a Twitter site. We have a Facebook page and our LinkedIn as well. So we're using and have a blog going. So we really worked on the whole social media and worked on search engine optimization, all of the things to do to get ourselves high placement through SEO, and have been pretty successful with that. So if you search on some of the key terms, we're going to be right up at the top of the page. That was one of the strategies we really worked on and worked hard at, so that from that perspective we would have a high listing. We focus on some events. We have what we call the eSpaces Learning Series, and then we have a particular kind of a subset of that is called the CEO Cafe. It's sponsored by one of the local banks here, the Bank of Nashville, and it is videotaped for public access TV. It's an executive speaking on a critical issue, maybe an executive on a panel. So we had, it actually turned out to be the chairman of our member advisory council do the first presentation. He's been the CEO of a highly successful company in town in the healthcare technology arena. And so at the first event we had as a major learning series, we had about 120 people and key people from across the business community here in Nashville come in for that presentation. So they saw the site, they saw how effectively it functioned, and then we've had other learning events where we had large groups of people in. Again, it's getting people in the site, getting that word of mouth, getting the buzz. Lots of activity, continual activity, things for our members. We've had a massage therapist come in to do massages. We had on election day, not a political party, but a kind of celebrating the right to vote, and had pizza. And so it's continually doing things to provide interest and energy for the site and to create buzz, and we're tweeting about those, we're blogging about them, we're getting the word out on Facebook. So it's continually promotion, continually creating buzz. This is the place to be. This is where activity is. There are a lot of significant business events happening here. You need to check out eSpaces. It's not very expensive. It provides a great service and is a very attractive venue.
Definitely. So from what I heard from that is now you're trying to get that word out on the new concept that you're about to start or you already started. And one of the things I heard from that was you focused on branding in the first place was because you guys were using a different website, eSpaces Inc., and then just to make that brand more concrete in the minds of the prospects or the users, you went out there and actually purchased the HYVAssistant.com. So that was branding the first part. When also you said you got someone to come in and take pictures so that when people go on the site, they can actually see what to expect. So that was the branding part of it. And then you also went on social media and tried to create buzz using the social media websites like Twitter, Facebook. The business, you ended up purchasing the eSpaces domain name, as well as having some photographer come in and really do a good job of showing people via pictures and possibly videos what the experience is like. You making use of eSpaces. So why was that even necessary? I mean, why was that important for you guys in regards to branding?
Uh, well, obviously what we're wanting to do, our plan is to not just be in this one location, but to develop additional locations here in the Nashville market and then go to other markets. So establishing the brand is absolutely critical for us. So that when people walk in to an eSpaces, whether it's here or whether it's in another part of Nashville or whether it's in another city, they'll recognize eSpaces. And that has everything to do with the website, with the blog, with Facebook, with the physical appearance of the space, with everything that we do, the URL that we use. So we put a tremendous amount of focus on the brand. Establishing the brand, reinforcing the brand, and so it's been a major focus to be sure that we establish that eSpaces is the brand for the new way of working in this market, and then as we go into other markets, it'll be recognized as the same thing. So it's really critical for us. We've run ads on public radio here in the local market. That's not going to probably cause someone to walk in and buy a membership, but it's really important in establishing the brand. So we've done a lot of things to create and establish a brand that has a lot of buzz about it and people want to be a part of and want to be involved in it.
And one other thing you also mentioned was that you guys have been using social media heavily, and I'm curious as to why going to social media as well, as opposed to just pumping out ads on newspapers, radios, and all that. You guys also went heavily into social media. I'm curious into that.
Well, obviously it is the least expensive when you run ads in journals, ads in papers, ads in other mediums. It is extremely expensive. Using social media obviously is a way to reach the targeted market and a relatively inexpensive means. It takes time, takes a lot of effort. It's not that there's no cost involved, but when you put out a paper ad, you're talking about perhaps a couple of $1,000s, and you really don't know if that's going to hit, if it's going to work, or if it's not going to work. So what we find with social media, you can do a lot of experimentation, you can try different things, and your cost is it's not as much, and you've got a lot of opportunity to adjust, to keep it fresh, to update it on a continual basis.
Definitely. And one of the things I find now is social media is a very hot topic. A lot of entrepreneurs want to really understand how they even get involved in the first place. But so far it seems you guys really know what works. And in regards to social media, what do you find is working the most for you guys?
Well, that's a hard question to answer. It's not one thing. I think what really works is getting a lot out there, and by that I mean on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, through the website, through the blog, and getting a lot of people commenting on it, and it just creates a buzz. And so it's not one thing that works. It's not, I saw you on Twitter and I came in and signed up for a membership, or I looked at your Facebook page and came in and signed up for a membership. It's the buzz that you create about it. There's a lot of energy. There's a lot happening. I need to be involved with that organization. I need to be a member there. So it's about creating the buzz, in my opinion, and as opposed to any one specific thing, which means you're putting a lot out there through different mediums, and then some people are going to find it in one, some in another, but ultimately the combination of all of it is that's something I need to check out. They're having really great events there. A lot of people are involved. I know that person who's commenting on it, and if they say it's great, it must really be great. It's that type of result, I think, that we get, as opposed to one thing versus another getting results.
Definitely. And I mean, I'm aware of social media myself too, and I know that just putting out comment or a post out there would not just create the buzz. There has to be some underlying thing that makes that buzz, buzz, as so to speak. So when it comes to you guys generating buzz, I'm trying to dive into, what is that element that you guys put into what you guys do that you feel generate, turns into something that's buzzworthy, I guess.
Well, I think the key thing is like I said, the nature of the events. If Jim Lackey, who was the CEO and chairman of one of the most successful healthcare technology companies in the Nashville market, which is a real healthcare center for the country.
Yeah.
If he's here speaking, and then I see there's a presentation by Michael Burcham, who is heading up the Nashville Entrepreneur Center, which is a major initiative in the city of Nashville, the Chamber of Commerce.
Come on now. Okay, yeah, it's recording again. So you were talking about how getting successful entrepreneurs come for the events, how that in itself generates the buzz. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think it's talking about people like Jim Lackey, Michael Burcham, and the city of Nashville. Those are in the business community major names. So if you see they're presenting here, if you see that their events, Digital Nashville is another organization, technology related, the Chamber of Commerce holding events here, an event with young professionals that are members of the chamber, various meetup groups are meeting here, and that gets in the social media, the whole fabric of it, and multiple tweets and retweeted and on Facebook and all of that. It's just the cumulative effect of it says, I need to check that place out. I keep hearing about it. In fact, this morning, one of our members was talking about telling someone else about eSpaces at a coffee shop and closer to downtown. Yeah. And another person spoke up and said, hey, I'm a member of the board there. And they got to we're talking about eSpaces. That's the kind of buzz, and when you develop a lot of that, people say, I got to check this out. And I think you reach some kind of critical mass where enough people know about it, enough people are talking about it, that finally they have to come by and check it out and see if it's going to work for them. So that's what we have worked to achieve, where people are discussing it, people are talking about it. When we did our grand opening, we had some of the traditional things. The mayor came and cut the ribbon, and we did a lot of promoting of it. One of my friends sent me an email and said, please don't send me another invite to this. And you kind of think about that and say, are we overdoing it? And you say, well, you need to communicate and communicate again and communicate again for people to really pay attention to it. And I guess you can overdo it, but it's pretty hard to overdo it. So what we've made is a real effort, a real concerted effort to create buzz and energy and people wanting to see what's happening at these spaces.
And I think, part of what I'm getting from there is that you guys are taking the time to think of, what would your prospective users of your product, your offices, which are entrepreneurs themselves, what would they find interesting? And so you're trying to find stories, and by creating events with such high profile entrepreneurs who probably all these other entrepreneurs might want to know what they're doing, having them come to your event. So my takeaway from that really is, if you're going to go into social media and all that in your specific niche, you're going to figure out, okay, what is going to be something that will be people will be interested in what you have to do, what would interest them, and figure out a way in which to put that kind of information out to them.
That's right. Yeah, and then social media gives you just a very inexpensive means of doing that today. I mean, obviously, just a few years ago, you'd have had to spend huge amounts of money to create the awareness and the buzz that we've been able to create with very little in terms of expenditure.
Definitely. And so now the buzz has happened. People are now showing up, to e-spaces. The thing now is, getting them on the site is one thing, but then turning them into the clients that you want them to be. That's the next step, I guess. So what do you guys do in that respect?
Well, it's just once you get them here on site, then it's the old-fashioned tour. There's nothing real exciting about it, but it takes about 10 or 15 minutes to explain the various services that we provide, to show them the space, kind of to show them the parts of it that have kind of the wow factor, and walk them through it, let them see it. Sometimes they bump into our members who will just spontaneously talk about how great it is to be here and to work here, and walk them through it, and at the end show them the pricing and ask for the sale. It's the nuts and bolts of selling. Show it to them, explain it, answer their questions, and ask them if they'd like to sign up as a member, and make it very, very simple. I often have an iPad that I either have with me or that I pick up at the end and show them how signing up as a member is just like buying anything on the internet. There's no papers to sign. They just tap a Join Now button on the website. It goes to a form. They put their information in, their credit card in, agree to terms and conditions. There's no lease to sign. It's month to month. There's no long-term commitments, so we make it very simple. It's very inexpensive, so it's not a large expenditure, and they agree to terms and conditions, and they're a member. So, and most people don't buy on the first visit, but some do. And then we tell them you can do it from home, think about it, look at the options. You can sign up, come back in, take another look at it. So generally the sales cycle is not that long, but at that point, once you get them here, it's sales 101. There's nothing magic about it. It's simply helping them understand what we offer, and then asking for the sale and showing them how easy it is to do it.
I guess my takeaway from that really is, the product itself, no matter how much buzz you generate, if you don't have a good product that people will find, or service people will find useful, it's just going to be a waste of the buzz. So now you've delivered on the product aspect of the whole thing. The product is solid, and now you've generated all that buzz, and they're now here. Now you have to put on the sales cap and basically sell them on the, actually have them go through basically the tour that you guys have, see the value in it for them, so that they can see it live as to what the benefits are for them, and eventually the sale process of them signing up, you made it so easy that it reduces any kind of resistance they might have.
That's right. That's exactly right. It's just often we make the process too difficult. We make the commitment too high of a hurdle to jump over, or to be willing to make the commitment. And so what we've tried to do is make it a simple product, a simple process for signing up. There's no long-term commitment. The price is at a price point that if it doesn't work for them, there's not a lot of money that they've lost. So it's taking away those obstacles, those things that would the typical objections that you would have in the sales process. And what I think is ultimately really important is not being afraid to ask for the sale. Ask them to sign up. Would you like to sign up now? Most of us aren't trained professional salespeople. Yeah. We view ourselves as entrepreneurs or as professionals, and we kind of shy away from that. But ultimately, you got to ask the person, do you want to buy? And obviously, we don't do that because we don't want to hear rejection, or we think they won't, or we're being too pushy. But just a casual asking, direct question of, would you like to go ahead and sign up? Sometimes they say yes, and that's great, and that's what you want them to do. And sometimes they don't, but you just leave the opportunity for them to look at it some more and show them, if they want to do it at home, how simple it is. And then obviously we have systems behind that So we're going to get their business card, or we're going to get their information. We're going to enter it in our customer relationship management system, and then follow up with them. And if they haven't signed up in a couple of weeks, depending on their situation, their story, what they're looking for, then we follow up with them and kind of track where they are. Again, it's just sales 101 once you get to that point.
Definitely, and I like how you've broken out the entire process of what you guys use to take from new idea and new concept to where you actually get into sales. People to come in and get to be part of the product. Or if they're not even interested at that point, you're able to follow up with them until they even eventually sell themselves on why they need to be members of your service. And so for that entrepreneur out there, in closing, for that entrepreneur out there who has that new idea that they come trying to work on, or that new concept, what is that, based on your own experience, what is that key thing that you want to leave with them as to moving forward with the process?
Well, I think in the experience I have these spaces, like I said earlier, it's something worked on for about 4 years. So a lot of confidence in the product and what it was, and a lot of times it's timing. Actually, if we had been successful in starting 3 or 4 years ago, we might have been too early. So spend a lot of time really researching and understanding the product that you have, and then persistence is really important, because it is not easy. It is very difficult to get a new product or project off the ground, and there are different types. One thing I would encourage people who are considering doing this and are interested in starting a business is to start small, because if you start something that is relatively small, kind of test it, see if it's going to work, and if you haven't put a lot of money and a lot of time in it and it doesn't work, you can learn from that, and you test other things. And you learn from that, and over time you learn what's going to work and what's not going to work, and then you get better at identifying those things that are going to be successful. So in the beginning, if you're a new entrepreneur, go through small cycles of testing ideas. Don't put a lot of time, put a lot of money, but do a number of them, and you'll probably find one that works, but most won't. And so the challenge is, if you focus in on one thing, you're not sure it's going to work, or you're never totally sure, but if you have real questions about it, you put a large amount of money and a large amount of time and it doesn't work, then that's a lot of loss. So be certain about your product, and then be persistent. If you know it's a winning idea, then you keep going at it, keep going at it, keep going at it. And at some point you think this is never going to work, but you keep being persistent, until you get that breakthrough you need to get it launched.
Thank you very much, Phil. I really enjoyed you being on the show. And just in case any of the viewers want to get a hold of you, how best can they do that?
Well, it's very simple. You can go to our website, which is HYVAssistant.com, just HYVAssistant.com. Or they can contact me by email, which is just simply Phil, P-H-I-L, Gibbs, G-I-B-B-S, @espaces.com.
Thank you very much for doing the interview. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Owen. Have a good day.
You too. So we are done.
So welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I really want to know what exactly you think. I mean, if I suck and if I'm not doing a good job, I want to know, because by your input and your comments, your suggestions, your feedback, that's how I'm going to improve on the entire package of what I'm sharing with you. I really want to improve so that you know that your time is well spent when you watch my videos. And if I do good on interviews, and if you like certain things I do, please let me know so I can even improve upon that as well. And I want to thank you really, because your time is well spent, and I mean, your time is important to me, and I want to make sure that I continuously put this information in front of you. So I want you to join my community. And in order to do that, you need to click on the link that says get the free ebook, enter in your name and email, and you will receive as a gift from me my free ebook titled The Entrepreneur's Guide to Running a Business in the Cloud. The reason I do that is because I want to share with you that information. You can check it out and make use of it in your business. In the same vein, I will be sending you email updates every time I have new blog posts, as well as if I have new stuff that is not even on the blog, I want to share with you. That way we can stay in contact. One more thing. Before you go, I want to also let you know that if you are really serious about finding, hiring, training, and even working with virtual assistant, if right now you want to get that started, why don't you sign up for my free webinar where I share everything about the entire process. And you can get to do that by clicking on the link on the very top of my blog where it says sign up for the free webinar. Again, thanks for watching the video, and I hope to see you next time.